Imagine standing before a painting, its surface alive with breathtaking detail, every brushstroke whispering secrets. This was the hallmark of the Northern Renaissance, an era when art became a coded language, speaking to those who could decipher its symbols. Beyond the stunning realism of its works lay layers of hidden meanings, from religious allegories to personal messages, inviting viewers to see beyond the obvious. But why were these symbols so important? In a time when much of life revolved around faith, mystery, and storytelling, symbolism gave art a deeper resonance. It was a way to communicate complex ideas and emotions in an era without mass literacy. Today, we'll uncover the fascinating world of symbolism in Northern Renaissance art, focusing on how artists like Jan van Eyck and Albrecht Dürer wove hidden meanings into their masterpieces. Symbolism in Northern Renaissance art was deliberate and intricate, much like a puzzle crafted by a master artisan. Every object, color, and gesture held significance. Take Jan van Eyck's Arnolfini Portrait. At first glance, it appears to be a simple double portrait, but closer inspection reveals a world of meaning. The dog at the couple's feet represents loyalty, while the single lit candle symbolizes the presence of God. Even the oranges on the windowsill hint at wealth and fertility, making the painting not just a portrait, but a narrative encoded in symbols. This layering of meaning was not accidental. Northern Renaissance artists drew heavily from medieval traditions, where symbols were used to instruct and inspire. Yet they also infused these symbols with new humanist ideas, reflecting the growing intellectual curiosity of the time. In this fusion of tradition and innovation, the Northern Renaissance found its distinctive voice. Jan van Eyck's works are renowned for their meticulous detail, but it's his use of symbolism that elevates them. Consider the Ghent altarpiece, a towering masterpiece of religious art. Every panel is a tapestry of meaning, from the lamb representing Christ's sacrifice to the fountain symbolizing eternal life. Van Eyck's ability to balance theological depth with visual splendor made his works timeless, inviting viewers to meditate on their mysteries. Van Eyck also played with perspective and reflection to add layers of meaning. In the Arnolfini Portrait, for instance, the convex mirror at the center not only reflects the scene, but also includes two additional figures, likely witnesses to the marriage. This clever use of reflection draws the viewer into the painting, blurring the line between observer and participant. Albrecht Dürer, often called the Northern Renaissance's Renaissance man, brought a different dimension to symbolism. His engravings and prints, such as Melencolia I, are masterpieces of coded meaning. The melancholic figure surrounded by tools and geometric shapes symbolizes the artist's struggle with creation, intellect, and the mysteries of existence. It's a work that continues to spark debate, with scholars finding new interpretations centuries after its creation. In his famous woodcut, The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Dürer used symbolism to convey the terror and inevitability of divine judgment. Each horseman, conquest, war, famine, and death, is rendered with striking detail, their imagery drawn directly from the biblical book of Revelation. Dürer's ability to translate complex theological ideas into powerful visual narratives solidified his reputation as a master of symbolic art. Symbolism in Northern Renaissance art wasn't limited to religious themes. It also reflected the values, fears, and aspirations of the society that produced it. In portraits, for instance, objects like books, flowers, or globes often hinted at the sitter's intellect, virtue, or worldly ambitions. Artists used these details to create not just likenesses, but character studies that spoke to the viewer. This attention to symbolism extended to nature as well. Northern Renaissance artists often depicted plants and animals with extraordinary accuracy, but these elements were rarely included for aesthetic purposes alone. In Van Eyck's Madonna of Chancellor Roland, the lush garden in the background is more than a pretty backdrop. It's a metaphor for the Virgin Mary's purity and the promise of paradise. Many of the hidden meanings in Northern Renaissance art were tailored to the patrons who commissioned the works. Wealthy merchants and clergy often requested specific symbols to reflect their piety, power, or personal stories. This collaboration between artist and patron added another layer of complexity to the art, making each piece a unique blend of public message and private meaning. For example, in Roger van der Weyden's Descent from the Cross, the meticulous attention to the figure's expressions and gestures speaks not only to the biblical narrative, but also to the patron's devotion. The emotional intensity of the painting invites viewers to share in the patron's spiritual experience, making it a deeply personal work. The art of the Northern Renaissance continues to captivate us because it demands more than passive viewing. It asks us to engage, question, and interpret. Its symbolism and hidden meanings offer a window into the minds and hearts of a bygone era, revealing a world both familiar and profoundly different from our own. As we decipher the layers of meaning in works by Van Eyck, Dürer, and their contemporaries, we are reminded of art's power to communicate across time and space. These masterpieces are more than historical artifacts. They are living dialogues, inviting each generation to discover their secrets anew. The next time you encounter a Northern Renaissance painting, take a closer look. You might just uncover a story hidden in plain sight.